What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Rex Fights, and I'm back with another Rant. Alright, now the first thing I want to say is to all my listeners, subscribers, and followers, Happy New Year's to you guys. Hope everything is going good for you guys, and if it's not, I hope it does get better. Now, in the latest news with Manny Pacquiao not choosing Terence Crawford, or the mix-up between Bob Arum and Terence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao, and now Jeff Horn, uh, it seems to be that Jeff Horn and Manny Pacquiao might be putting together a fight, mainly because of the titles and because of it's an overseas fight. There are rumors that the fight could be done for free, and this guy Jeff Horn, he's ranked top 10 in the welterweight division when it comes to titles and stuff like that, and in BoxRec. If you know, if you don't know about Jeff Horn, you might have to check BoxRec, because I didn't know about him either. But he's in the mix with all the other guys, with Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Timothy Bradley, Jesse Vargas, and of course Manny Pacquiao, and also Amir Khan. But yeah, he's in that mix. He's got the international title, the WBO international title, and from what I understand, and I'm not really good at titles, so don't quote me. I hope I don't misinform you, but maybe it can guide you to looking it up yourself. But the WBO title, anything that falls under, is basically like smaller titles that can get you a bigger fight to get to the big fight, like with a bigger title, I mean to say. So being that Manny Pacquiao now has the WBO title at the welterweight division, he would like to fight Jeff Horn, being that Jeff Horn has the international, or the intercontinental title from Australia over there. He wants to take that fight on. Now that's more of an international type of fight. Everybody gets to see him. It's not the typical fight in Vegas, and not the typical fight anywhere else. He's doing something different, which is what Manny's used to doing when he first started. He didn't always fight in Vegas. He fought in different places, and he was all about showcasing and trying to take on the best fights. Now this is a different move, but the question is, do you think he's dodging or ducking Terence Crawford, or is he pricing himself out to make the stock rise a little bit higher for that fight between him and Terence Crawford, so it could be more of a pay-per-view fight and more of a bigger deal? Because beating Jeff Horn, or fighting Jeff Horn, is it more lucrative at the time? Is it easier, quicker to be made? Yes, because Jeff Horn is also a top-ranked fighter. So it makes it a lot easier, and it makes it different. It makes you go away from the norm. So it's like saying, hey, our star has something else to do. He's going to go over here and do this now. And it extends things. It makes people, go on hold and stuff like that. And Bob Arum was quoted saying that he wasn't going to make the fight for early 2017 between Pacquiao and Terence Crawford. So either way, the fight wouldn't have been made right away. But people are talking about it, and they want to know all the information. And that's basically most of it right there. There's nothing more to add to it. Is that Manny Pacquiao's moving along with this fight. He said he wanted $20 million to fight Terence Crawford. Now, in my opinion, when you have a fighter that's a blockbuster fighter like Manny Pacquiao, and he still is, and to some folks you might not agree, and to give him $20 million, you might not agree, but I think what happens is that they have to respect the his negotiation tactic. They have to respect where he's coming from, what exactly he wants, and what he wants to do after he fights Terence Crawford, whether he wins or loses. Now, Jeff Horn he's also enrolled in VADA testing, so that makes it easier for Pacquiao. He's just trying to make quick, fast money, and he's trying to fight good contenders and guys that are ranked and they have those points in the box rec system, and all the historian systems, because whether you think he's fighting nobodies or not, all these guys have titles, all these guys are ranked, all these guys are up there. They have amateur backgrounds or whatnot, and they've been around. And now, if you check out Jeff Horn's record, it's not impressive. It's just 16-0. He has 11 KOs. That's the part that's impressive. But all of the fights have been with titles and stuff like that. So he's a little sensation over there in Australia. He's number one when it comes to welterweights in Australia. But other than that, there's not much to know about this guy. And to go back to the Terence Crawford conversation, like I said, they Top Rank has to respect it. They're gonna try to give Manny whatever they want, and of course, they're gonna try to make the Terence Crawford fight possible, if not maybe this year. But who knows? They're speculating with Lomachenko and things like that. So that's how they're keeping afloat. Because if you think about it, some of the other fighters that are in Top Rank are not making a big deal right now. If you think about it, they're all losing to Manny. All the good guys are losing to Manny that are in the welterweight division. So then you got guys that fight for Al Heyman or Golden Boy or any other promotion out there. Rock Nation, whatever. I don't know if Rock Nation even has a welterweight, but whatever the promotion may be, those guys are a little bit up, when it comes to, what they're doing. Like Amir Khan, he's got a chance to make a bunch of money with Kell Brook. Donnie Garcia versus Keith Thurman, that's a great fight. Sean Porter, he's still available. That type of stuff, And then, of course, you got the other promotions that have the other fighters. And what I'm trying to say is that they're trying to keep things afloat. And Terence Crawford is still at 140. So to think that he's just going to be able to jump like that and just call himself the king, it's not going to be easy. You know what I mean? They're going to want to test him. Somebody's going to want to test him. And not always in the ring. It's also could be in the financial side. It could be on the negotiation side. So if, let's say, Terence Crawford, they make the fight for Terence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao, they're going to be competing with the Gennady Golovkin versus Canelo fight, and the fight that's happening soon to be, the Klitschko versus Joshua, and the Leo Santa Cruz versus Frampton, and Thurman versus Garcia. They're competing with all of that. So after that happens, let's say Terence Crawford wins. If he wins, what happens is that he has that value now as that guy for Top Rank, and he's gonna have to know how to fight in these type of circumstances. And then on number 2, he's gonna have to also bounce up to 147. I mean, that's not absolutely true. He doesn't have to, but it would be better if he did, because then he could just keep winning and it would look even more impressive. But if he went back down and he kept fighting at 140 and he didn't get the fights that he wanted, like I would say, to me, the best fight that I would want to see and the fans would want to see for Terence Crawford would be Broner. You start at 147 with Broner. If you can get him somehow in the mix, man, that would be awesome. But then you have the other guys that are like a little bit bigger than Crawford, a little bit more experience when it comes to defending their titles and being in the big scene. You know what I mean? Those big fights in New York and stuff like that. I mean, Terence Crawford has had them, but hasn't had them at 147. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. You guys, let me know, comment, and of course, uh, let me know who you guys think would win in that fight between Crawford and Manny Pacquiao. Okay, so moving along to my next topic. Um, it's gonna be a little bit of an early prediction on the Danny Garcia versus Keith Thurman fight. This fight looks like it's been cooked up for a while, but in a in a different way. It hasn't been in a way where these guys have been calling each other out for a while. I mean, not that I noticed, because I didn't really see it like that. But I do know that Keith Thurman has always talked about all the guys that hold the title in the welterweight division, because he wasn't always the super WBA welterweight champion. He was at one point the regular, and he was not happy, and he was at a moderate state when it came to making fights and trying to get to the big leagues and stuff like that. You know, for a while he was one-time Keith Thurman, knocking dudes out, and Danny Garcia was always the guy that was uh, creating upsets. Now, there are some fights out there, of course, that people, add a L to Danny Garcia's record, and they say that some of these fights were very close, or if not, he didn't win. Um, and I agree with some of those ideas and opinions, but the fact is that he's undefeated. Now, going back to the calling out and the fact that these guys are in the welterweight division at the same time right now. Danny's only been at 147 for about maybe a year and a half tops. I know he fought the Ghost. He just fought some guy not too long ago, and he's been doing his thing. He's been, on cruise control. He beat the Ghost pretty efficiently, and I thought that was a decent fight, and it was good to see Danny at his natural weight, because that's what he says, is that that's his natural weight. But I saw a little bit more balance when it came to watching his fight versus Robert Guerrero, and that's the fight that I like to go back to watch. His combinations, his jab, him fighting off the back foot and things like that. And I never have really seen a jab from Danny Garcia, which is funny. He's been fighting for a while now, but he's only been at 147 for about, at the most, 2 years, a year and a half from my memory. And if not, someone correct me. But that's the reason why I would pick Danny over Keith Thurman. Now, some people are gonna be shocked, and if you don't know by now, because I did say this on that Google Hangouts with Brendan. It's on my Facebook, and it's on his page on True School Sports. If you watch that, shout out to that crew over there, Brendan Taylor and all them. But I did say it on the Google Hangouts, and I said that I think Danny's gonna win. I didn't get into detail, and this is what this video is for. And I think it comes down to balance. I think that Danny really believes that he's a better fighter. He's a taller fighter. I wouldn't say that he's the more athletic fighter, because I think that Keith Thurman has some more a little bit more athleticism, and he's a little bit more agile. And that's how you already know that I'm already thinking that this is going to be a close fight. But when it comes down to overall balance, I think Danny Garcia got that. He can fight off the back foot pretty well. He's not going to fall and stumble and do weird stuff. He's going to hold down his position. He's not going to get he's not going to let Keith Thurman cut off the ring on him, which is not something that Keith Thurman always does. But if you let him, start getting inside the defense, Keith can really mess you up. If he starts to get inside your defense, he can really hurt you to the body. And obviously you guys seen him get hit. He can take a punch too, so he doesn't mind mixing it up. But Keith hasn't had the opposition that Danny has had either. Some people are saying, and shout out to the guys on YouTube that are saying this. This is all about bringing up facts and talking and seeing what happens when the fight happens. But they say that some people are saying that Keith is the best fighter that Danny's ever faced. Now, I could agree with that. I understand that, but he's also seen a lot of different types of fighters. And he's been prepared for a guy like Keith Thurman. And I'm sure you guys would agree. But at the same time, the things that have happened to Keith when he's gotten into big fights, you've seen some struggle. You know what I'm saying? You see some real struggle. And, Keith had to figure himself out. And, some fights, people don't say that he won either. Like the one versus the Sean Porter fight was very close. I think it was close. I still think that Keith won, but I think it was very close. Now, here is the kryptonite for Danny Garcia. And it's set in stone. Everybody knows this. Everybody that's a boxing fan or a boxing head can already see this coming. Now, if you haven't figured out what I'm going to say, this is the style that could beat Danny Garcia, is that Lamont Peterson style. If Keith can figure out how to do that without becoming a knee-jerk type of fighter, and he starts to jump in and he starts to get out and jump in and start doing Manny Pacquiao stuff, or jumping in and out like if he's Sean Porter, then he's going to lose. He's going to lose because he's going to mix it up. He has to stay consistent. If he does this Lamont Peterson style and he circles around the ring and every now and then, put some combinations up, put some sting on there and back out and show that you have a better chin and a better what's it called? Like you're more prepared. Your body is more prepared. You've been working out better, and you're more in shape than Danny. Then you could school Danny. He could school. It's right there for him. Right there. That's the kryptonite for Danny. That's my opinion. That's my take. But Danny has more on his side to beat Keith's style. If Keith comes in with the usual Keith. Now, everybody knows that all fighters don't always come in fighting the same. You have to do that because you'll get into some problems if you fight everybody the same. But in my opinion, Keith usually fights the same way. Not every single time, but most of the time he comes in ready to go toe-to-toe with you. And sometimes he can back out and fight off the back foot and things like that. But I don't think that's going to work for Danny, for Keith to go against Danny. I just don't think it's going to work because I think Danny is better off the back foot. And they both don't have much of a jab. Danny's hook is crazy, but it's calculated. And Keith has some pretty good combinations. He has some uppercuts. He has some body blows. He has some some baby hooks that can come in real sharp and rock you. You know, some fast ones. And he got some fast combinations too, but I don't think that that's gonna be enough to slow Danny from wanting to cut off the ring, because that's how Danny rocks. Is that he cuts off the ring very slowly, and he goes after you. And once you make a mistake, he counters you. He doesn't try to punish you. He just tries to counter you. And every time he counters you, he tries to break you down. Now, if Keith tries to fight off of his back foot and tries to jab and tries to bounce around, it's a wrap. I think it's a wrap. Now, that doesn't mean that Keith's not going to win rounds like that. Yeah, I could totally see how someone thinks that Keith Thurman's going to win by bouncing around. I could totally see that. But in my opinion, I think Danny's more balanced. He's been hit pretty hard as well, and he's fought some guys that has got on his nerves, and he's had to come back. So that's the reason why I picked Danny right now. And you know, I've already put it in the video that, you know, the answer is there. So at the end of the day, if Keith winds up winning, then I could see how. But if he bounces around, then much props to him, because I never would have thought that he's like overall stronger than Danny, because, you know, Danny has his categories where he has, you know, weapons in the bag ready to go for, you know, for a guy like Keith, you know, especially that he's not overall more athletic than him. You know, they're both equally athletic, and I think that it's more like a 55-45, and it's a really close fight. So let me know what you guys think about these two fights upcoming for 2017. What are you excited about? Happy New Year's to everyone, and, you know, just hit me up, man. It's your boy Rex Righteous.